And to do this for the cap, we have to create the profiles for the cap surface, which we then could use for the revolve tool, and then create a new helix, create the pipe around the edges, and then trim everything together. So let's do this. But before we do this, you notice probably that I'm getting a lot of layers, and here is a layer browser. So you could, for example, with left and right, kind of like scroll those layers, make them visible, but that's not really the greatest part. The better part is then at this point using the object lister, which is kind of like the layer tool. I have, for example, here a layer cap, and let's go to left again. And let's turn the shaded mode off because I would like to select basically everything besides my surface. So this one, then this one, and this one. Okay, so that is good. Then I copy and paste and assign it to that layer. But I'm hiding it for a second because now I have to figure out which way I could perfectly position now my circle on the kind of like midpoint between those circles. So I remember that I created kind of like a line here, and I have my curve snapping tilt set to snap division to 2. That means I could create a small helper line for me. So with the curve tool and snapping turned on, and this properly snaps to a wrong curve. That is not what I want. So let's select this point, and there is another point. So this surface height, show me this line. Okay, that is the curve I would like to snap to. There. So this is now at the center, and then I can press middle mouse button and simply drag this line out. And I rather like doing it this way, then I have a visual guideline, and as well my snapping, for example, get confused with other kind of like geometry parts. So I could go now to for example, the cap surface, but this curve I'm going to assign to that layer. Then I go to cap. This one I'm going to hide, because as you can see now, all I have to do is I'm going to select maybe all those curves, and then I'm going to group them together. And by grouping them together, I can reassign a new pivot point. So go to the pivot point tool, and then control click and snap it to the beginning of, for example, the string. So that is good, because now I can just simply select my object. Doesn't really matter what I click, it just selects the object, or sorry, the group. And then I can go to move it around, and then, for example, maybe control click on one of those points. And then this way I have it basically aligned along the z-axis. And then all I have to do that is left is simply move it slightly in to the right till at least, for example, I have a little bit of space left between my two rings. So let's say maybe there. Yeah, that is good. Okay, then at this point I can go back and ungroup everything because I have to move my center helix back to the grid. So I select this helix part, press middle mouse button, and then press Alt or Option, snap to the grid. That is good. Then I can go to CV Edit, select the last point, go to Move, middle mouse button can move it around, Control, snap to the last point of my axis line, and you see this way I have everything repositioned and adjusted. And then I can go back to the rail surface tool, and I have still everything set up. That is good. So click and click. There is now my geometry part, and then again curve edit, duplicate, copy out now my little bit bigger helix. This surface I can delete because I really don't need it anymore. And then surface, tube, select this helix. I still have the same radius from before, don't change it of course, and then you can click build. And then we have created the threading that, for example, perfectly fits around the threading that is inside our bottle.